Welcome back, folks, to Let's Play The Raven, Legacy of a Master Thief. When last we left off, we got introduced to some of the characters on the Orient Express, and our protagonist, Constable Zellner. We are presented with the problem of having to find the steward to open a locked door.
Perhaps a thoughtful conductor noticed that Professor Lucien wasn't in his compartment and locked it.
Perhaps not. Perhaps something suspicious is afoot. Maybe we should go and check this compartment door here.
The little label on the door reads Baroness von Trebitz. Blue blood on the Orient Express.
We could always ask her if she knows where the steward is. Hello?
Yes, what is it?
Whoever that is, James, ask them whether they found my purse and then closed the door. The noise on this train is driving me crazy.
Well, that pretty much has settled what we're going to be talking about.
You're missing a purse. Was it stolen?
At the very least, I cannot find it, sir.
Oh?
It was stolen.
When was the last time the Baroness saw her purse?
Good question.
What?
In Zurich, on the platform, sir.
I just asked where you last saw your purse.
In Zurich on the platform. James, tell him that I still had it when I got out to stretch my legs.
The Baroness says...
Maybe you lost it there.
What?
The Baroness never loses anything, sir.
Really?
I never lose anything.
Very well then. I shall be on the lookout for your purse.
Well, wasn't that a bit of a double act? So we now have another task to do. We need to find a purse.
If I might ask you a few questions about your fellow passengers.
I thought he was looking for my purse. James, tell him to look for my purse.
The Baroness wishes that you search for her purse.
But couldn't we perhaps... All right. First, the purse. I will have a look around.
Thank you, sir.
And thus, that conversation ended. I think it's time that we move on to another room. Because we're not going to find very much here, are we? Let's go. Will there be more characters? More than likely.
I don't believe it.
I do.
I never thought I'd ever meet you.
Hello.
Pardon me, but we'd prefer...
It's all right, Miss Miller. I'd like to speak to the inspector.
Oh?
Unfortunately, just a constable, Lady Westmacott.
Oh.
I'm reading The Vicarage in the Mirror right now, for the 5th time at least.
That's nice, Constable...
Zellner. Anton Jakob Zellner.
This is my companion, Miss Miller.
Hello.
A pleasure.
And there indeed is the author of the book that we were reading at the very beginning of the game. It's a small world, isn't it? But what indeed is she doing here?
May I ask what you're doing here? Are you on holiday?
Holiday? Yes, so to speak. The first and last holiday of my life.
Really?
Madam?
I've been writing since I was a little girl. It became my job, and now I've stopped. So, this must be a holiday.
You quit writing? Impossible. I have all of your books. Your Detective Partout is my favorite character.
Then I have bad news for you. I killed the old wretch off years ago.
What?
I don't understand.
I'd rather not discuss my work, Constable.
Oh, well, fine.
Fair enough. Where are you traveling to? I bet you're traveling to Venice to get on a cruise.
Are you traveling to Istanbul, Lady Westmacott?
No, we are on our way to Venice. From there, we will take a ship to Cairo. As you may know, I have a penchant for archaeology. I fund a few excavations in Egypt.
Oh?
I traveled to Egypt by ship as a young woman. And now I'm doing it again as an old woman.
I see.
It seems everybody is traveling to Venice these days.
As a writer, you must be very observant. Am I right? I mean, you have to study the behavior of people around you to create the characters in your novels, don't you?
I solved the mystery of human nature a long time ago, Mr. Zellner. Since then, most people just bore me.
Really? I had the impression you were eyeing me suspiciously as I came in.
What do you want to know, Constable?
That's a good question. What do we want to know? Well, first we want to know about the archaeologist, because he's being very suspicious.
Did you notice the man who just walked into the next carriage with a cup of tea?
I did. He seemed nervous. He was waiting at the bar for the steward, and since the steward never appeared, he elected to help himself. He took 2 biscuits.
Oh no!
He seems pretty young, but he's already a professor at the British Museum.
Interesting. I'll have to talk to him later. Just out of courtesy, of course.
Of course.
Not 2 biscuits! That man is obviously up to something vile. What about the violinist?
Did you notice the blonde man with the violin case?
Oh?
I certainly did. He introduced himself and tried to make a good impression. People like him are drawn to wealth and fame, like moths to a flame.
But his charms failed on you.
I know him by name. David Kreutzer. He was a drain on my friend's purse.
Do you think he has a money problem?
People like him always have a money problem. No matter how much you give them, they always spend twice as much and complain that they have far too little.
Well, if that opinion is in fact founded, we may have found someone who can explain about the missing purse.
There's something else. A passenger's purse has gone missing. I suppose you haven't seen it.
I'm sorry, Constable Zellner. As you know, I only deal with murder, not burglary.
Have you asked my boy yet? Maddie is good at finding things.
I'll go and do that now.
Well, that's a good idea. We'll go ask Matt.
Coming back to the other passengers again, did you notice anyone else? What about the doctor or the Baroness?
I notice that you've asked me about everyone, except for the inspector who went in the direction of the freight car a few minutes ago.
Observant.
Isn't that the Frenchman who made his name when he caught the raven?
I wouldn't quite say caught.
Well, shot. Why don't you ask me about him and my theory about what he's doing here?
I don't think we should discuss Inspector Legrand's investigation in public.
I do.
Legrand, right. That was his name. Will he save the day again? Or will you, Constable?
Oh?
As much as I'd like to keep talking, duty calls.
You were right.
Madam?
I did observe you as you came in. You seemed so eager.
It's been a long time since I've had a chance to prove myself, madam.
And this is it. Your chance.
I do hope so.
Then grab it. Even small people can make big changes, as my friend Ronald likes to say.
I shall do my best.
I'm sure you will, Constable Zellner. We can always look at Miss Miller and talk to her as well.
Mrs. Miller made a good impression. She wanted to protect Lady Westmacott from me, a pushy admirer. Very diligent. But she does seem a little nervous and tense. I imagine she has her work cut out for her with Matt, and a difficult boss from what they say.
I think there is something I want to go and get before I go and talk to them again. Because we have the author of the book that we were reading actually on the train. Why don't we go get that book signed? I'm sure she won't mind. Actually, she very much might mind, but you never know. Aha! We can now take the book.
Should I ask for an autograph?
Go on.
That will be quite unprofessional. But on the other hand...
On the other hand, you totally should. Let's right-click the book.
I like the book. It describes life in a small English village. The characters are lifelike, and you can tell that it's based on the author's own experiences.
Well, let us go and get that signed before we do anything else. We can also go talk to the doctor. He sat in the corner in the next cart. I meant to say carriage there, but I said cart. Just imagine a tiny little The Orient Cart Express! No, no, no. Let us in fact go get this signed. She may say no, but it's worth a go.
Lady Westmacott,
Yes?
I was wondering if you might,
Sign your book, Constable Zelda?
Yes.
if it isn't too much of an inconvenience.
Of course it's an inconvenience, but only a small one.
There we go. Excellent.
You are welcome.
Thank you so very much.
What does it actually say in there?
For brave Constable Anton Jakob Zellner, whose time shall surely come. Clarissa Westmacott, DBE.
Excellent. Let's talk to Miss Miller.
Mrs. Miller?
Hello.
Yes?
The little boy, Matt, he's your son?
Oh, yes. Has he done something?
No.
No. I've already met him. Clever little fellow.
We always call him Professor because he's so precocious. If only someone could just drive the mischief out of him.
Have you noticed anything suspicious?
Did you notice anything unusual on the train?
Oh, I'm afraid not. I was totally focused on my work.
She's always got an awful lot to do, my Mary.
You have to tell me if that's not all right with you.
Good Lord, child. Knit as much as you want.
So, nothing out of the ordinary.
No, Constable.
Goodbye, Mrs. Miller.
Goodbye, Constable.
Interestingly, the game most of the time will actually just end conversations when there's nothing more to say. Which is quite good, I quite like that. I also like the fact that the subtitles are on by default as well when you load the game up. That's really good. Let's go and talk to the doctor. He's over here. Buy all the drinks. We've talked to him before, apparently, on the platform, so I'm sure he won't necessarily mind us talking to him. Hello!
Ah, Mr.
Zellner.
Right. How can I help you?
Have you noticed anything suspicious?
Tell me, did you notice anything suspicious here on the train or in Zurich?
You mean, except for the fact that my suitcase was stolen on the platform? No. Is there any reason to be concerned?
No, just routine.
Constable Zellner, please don't think I'm naive. I spotted the inspector from Interpol.
Everyone did.
Legarde is his name, if I recall correctly.
Le Grand.
If you say so. At the train station in Zurich, he put a cash box into the safe, and then kept close watch as it was loaded onto the train. Don't tell me that a man at his pay grade routinely tramps across the Alps just to keep an eye on cash boxes.
A cash box? Like the ones you'd find in safe deposit boxes?
Oh?
Precisely. And I believe we both have a good idea just what's inside.
Do we have a good idea?
I do indeed have a theory, but what's yours?
A ruby was stolen in London.
It was.
One of the legendary Eyes of the Sphinx. The second jewel, an emerald, is rumored to be in a Swiss bank vault, if I remember correctly.
I think you do.
Both jewels were supposed to be exhibited together in Cairo for the first time in 50 years. It does make one wonder.
It does.
Indeed.
It does.
Any news about the robbery in London?
Quite something, wasn't it? It must have been professionals. The way they disabled one of the best security systems in the world. Most impressive.
People were injured.
Well, one cannot execute a robbery of that scale without collateral damage. It seems like the Raven has finally found a worthy successor. We can look forward to new and spectacular coups.
I'm afraid I won't enjoy his exploits this time around if the new Raven is so reckless.
Indeed.
That's your prerogative.
He does seem very reckless.
May I borrow your newspaper?
You can take the section with the article on the burglary. You're interested in that bit,
I
aren't
am.
you?
You caught me out.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Dankeschön.
Missing purse?
I meant to ask. The Baroness is missing her purse.
A baroness? This train is really full of the creme de la creme. The queen of crime is over there, and now a baroness as well.
Have you seen the purse?
Unfortunately, no. Do you know Lady Westmacott? You were talking to her?
Well, I'm an admirer of her work.
Like so many others. I once read in the newspaper that only Shakespeare and the Bible sell more copies than her crime novels.
I read that too.
She must be filthy rich. As a doctor, I'd have to work 1,000 years to earn that kind of money.
And finally, the conductor. This is going to lead to something interesting, I'm sure.
There's something else. Do you know where the conductor is?
I'd like to know that myself. I told him to search for my missing suitcase in Zurich. He hasn't got back to me yet. He's probably in cahoots with the thieves, and didn't bother getting back on the train. If we don't crack down on vermin like them, the rabble will rule the world one day.
Well, at the moment, we still don't know what really happened.
He is not here doing his job. That's bad enough.
Auf Wiedersehen, Dr. Gebhardt.
Goodbye, Constable. It was a pleasant chat, really.
Fair enough. We have, however, got a newspaper article that we're going to read now, to provide us with a bit of backstory.
Let's see if there's any news. Blah, 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 blah. Eye of the Sphinx, one of two priceless jewels, extraordinary pure ruby, 2000 BC, etc., etc.
That's old.
Old news. And here, shocking burglary. Professional thieves surprised by museum guard Charles Langley and Constable Robert Oliver of Scotland Yard. Explosion? Not really anything new. One of the two eyes of the Sphinx, a ruby that's nearly 4,000 years old, was stolen from the British Museum. The burglar was surprised, but managed to escape with his loot without being recognized. That's the official story. But it says nothing about Legrand and the second eye.
Fair enough. And we have a name for the, constable, or the, police officer in the actual introductory cutscene. Oliver.
Luna's Drops. The calming herbal liqueur for women. A glass a day. It relaxes the nerves and maintains domestic tranquility. Luna's Drops, if you don't want to bother your husband.
Well, that was a terrible advert. Let's move on to, the interesting article here.
A story about the upcoming Oscars and Cleopatra's chances of winning. An incredible feat. They built the largest movie set of all time in Rome. And because of the main actress's many illnesses, several changes of director, and months of delays, cost shot to over $40 million.
That's a lot.
The most expensive movie ever made. A record never to be broken.
I'm afraid it will be broken, Zelna. It will be broken a lot.
John Surtees won the Formula One World Championship for the first time on Saturday. He also won the World Championship in motorcycle racing from 1956 to 1960, making him the only man in motorsports to win world championships in both motorcycle and Formula One events. Not really my cup of tea. Too loud, too fast, too much exhaust.
I agree, Zelna. Read enough. I have. And when we come back, folks, we'll have to start trying to solve some of these problems. Like, where's the purse? Where's the conductor? Where's the steward? Where's everybody? Who knows? Who knows? I'll catch you next time, folks. I'll see you then. Later.